For the last decade, the story of Asian tech was written on your smartphone. Billions of dollars poured into e-commerce marketplaces and ride-hailing platforms. But that massive wave of consumer apps has crested. Beneath that software layer, the region has always relied on a much deeper economic identity. It is the physical factory floor of the world, responsible for mass-producing the electronics and machinery that run the global economy. Now, that traditional model is under intense pressure. Consumer app markets are heavily saturated, while the physical export of goods is facing steep U.S. tariffs and increasing disruptions across crucial global shipping routes. To survive this combination of threats, relying on cheap manufacturing or another delivery app won't work. The Asian economy requires a completely new engine for growth. Capital is now flooding into a different sector entirely: applied artificial intelligence, built specifically for established heavy industries. This chart illustrates the sudden shift in capital. We're seeing a sharp upward trajectory in funding for B2B and industrial AI, pushing past the investment in consumer apps. The fastest-growing startups in the Asia-Pacific region are currently focused entirely on logistics, robotics, and industrial infrastructure. These high-growth companies aren't scattered randomly. They are clustering in highly specialized geographic nodes. To see exactly how this macroeconomic shift is playing out, we have to look inside three specific laboratories: Seoul, Tokyo, and Singapore. Look at the top 10 fastest-growing tech companies in the Asia-Pacific region, and you'll find 4 of them based right here in Seoul. South Korea directed $86 billion into R&D in 2024, representing 5.1% of its GDP. That capital flows outward directly into local supply chains, dominating the global market, specifically semiconductor manufacturing and EV batteries. Local startups are building tools to leverage this hardware. A company called Noda AI writes software that compresses massive AI models so they can run natively on small devices. Meanwhile, DeepNoid applies similar AI frameworks to analyze complex medical imaging. South Korea's startup scene is explicitly designed to lock into its existing industrial base. They are building the intelligence required to multiply hardware efficiency. A few hours away in Tokyo, the motivation is entirely different. Japan has long held the title of global leader in industrial robotics, but today the country faces a severe labor shortage. The population is aging out of the workforce, leaving industries desperate for able bodies. To solve this, startups are taking their legacy knowledge of factory robotics and pivoting it toward the broader services and logistics sectors. Take the company LexPlus. They engineer autonomous warehouse robots capable of navigating and moving heavy goods through distribution centers, completely independent of human intervention. For Japan, applying AI to physical infrastructure is the only viable method left to maintain economic output with a shrinking workforce. Further south, Singapore currently ties for the top spot globally for the sheer volume of high-growth tech companies. Unlike Korea and Japan, the city-state doesn't rely on massive factory floors. Instead, its economic leverage comes from operating as the central commercial and logistics hub for Southeast Asia. Startups like Alytics capitalize on this dense environment. They deploy computer vision AI to actively monitor sprawling construction sites and city infrastructure in real time. Singapore proves that industrial AI works far beyond a single assembly line. It functions as a master integrator, capable of managing entire urban environments. Still, the region's traditional export market remains highly exposed. Asian economies are currently grappling with the weight of U.S. tariff impositions and a noticeable drop in global demand for physical goods. Because the majority of Asia's wealth is inherently tied to the physical movement of cargo, the economy is highly vulnerable to geopolitical tensions and any disruptions along international shipping routes. Add to that the inescapable drag of demographic aging, which will inevitably strain public finances across China, Korea, and Japan over the coming decades. A sudden boom in industrial AI investment cannot erase these deep structural and geopolitical vulnerabilities overnight. But the technological convergence happening across Seoul, Tokyo, and Singapore is actively optimizing global trade networks and manufacturing out of sheer necessity. For decades, Asia's value to the world economy was defined entirely by building physical goods that were designed somewhere else. These new startups are developing the foundational intelligence and AI models that govern how global industries actually function. Asia's influence on the world economy is shifting toward the creation of these core technologies, dictating the systems that will eventually direct global production.